From my perspective, it's not an option. I treat everybody, and there are people in my community, and I see that first. And yeah, just the humanness comes first always. And I think that's true the other way around as well, like the way they see me. When it comes to like the firefighters, for example, I'm pretty certain they wouldn't have started coming to see me if they didn't know me as a person first. I used to volunteer as a firefighter and EMT with our local fire department. And so, got to know those people, and over time, slowly getting to know each other, chit chat before and after trainings and whatnot. And they're like, "Oh, you're an acupuncturist?" Like,
I'm Michael Max, and this is Geological, the podcast that curates East Asian medicine and methods through the power of conversation. I've got something that I want to talk with you about. It might sound a bit harsh and make you feel uncomfortable, but my intention is not to cause difficulty. It's because I care. I've heard something that many new practitioners say, and I've got to tell you, I don't think it's so helpful. I'm just a baby practitioner. Every time I hear these words, it puts a little ache in my heart, and it makes me feel a bit sad. I suspect it's because I like to see people succeed with practicing acupuncture, and I don't think it's helpful to actively work on keeping yourself small. I understand it's an attempt at humility, and it's the recognition that the path of practicing acupuncture, it's long and relentlessly full of constant learning. But playing small, it's never helpful. When I hear I'm just a baby practitioner, I translate it into I'm new, please be nice to me. I get it that in the beginning, it's impossible to feel confident. It doesn't help that in a field such as ours that requires lifelong learning, you'll constantly be on the edge of uncertainty. And that all too easily triggers a feeling of imposter syndrome. But trust me on this, playing small, it will not help. Here's the thing. You've got some kind of skill, capacity, and instinct that has brought you up to this current moment. If you're in practice, you've managed to navigate school and all that it required beyond education. You probably had some relationships, love affairs, jobs you've enjoyed or maybe hated, experiences that you know you'd like more of, and others that you don't want to repeat. You've already had a seasoned mix of success and failure, even daring to take on a vocation such as acupuncture. It demonstrates a kind of courage, or at minimum, a kind of chutzpah that's worth celebrating. Saying that you are just in kindergarten when in fact you have an advanced degree, it's a bit disingenuous, and it dishonors your teachers and your effort. I get it that it's damn uncomfortable at the beginning when you've got more insecurity than seasoning. For sure, you'll know more 10 years down the road. No doubt your 70-year-old self would have some advice for you today that you're likely incapable of hearing now. I'm not suggesting that a doctorate makes you a doctor. That's something you need to live into. But notice for yourself how your chi moves when you say, I'm just a baby practitioner. Does it go up or down? Does it move outward with an expansive sense of possibility, or inward into hiding? What you say with your words and the way that it makes you feel, it's a kind of qigong. Here's the other thing. Baby steps, those aren't small for a baby. They are utterly transformative in how they orient themselves to the world. Baby steps are not a demonstration of weakness. They're an expression of a gathering capacity. Being new doesn't mean you're weak. That said, it's a good time to chart out the next steps that will take you forward. Look forward to working through the inevitable difficulties. Sincerely dig into the parts that are really hard. Building up a tolerance and capacity for working through what's not easy, that is what will burn away any lingering sense you might have of being an imposter. Getting started is not easy. Knowing where to begin and how to navigate the world of practice, it's got very little to do with your clinical skills and everything to do with your sense of who you are and the perhaps slightly audacious vision that you have for your career. All of us serve a community. We all have a niche that we desire to live in, and while at the beginning it's hard to know what it means to thrive, in time, your practice will teach that to you. In this conversation with Liz Vitale, we explore the importance of community, and not just the community of those who are like us, but the wider community that we share with those who we don't think we'd have a connection with. Our practices, if we are lucky, will give us the opportunity to work with people quite dissimilar from ourselves. It is part of what seasons us and allows you to expand your work in ways that you'd previously not imagined. Indeed, as you'll hear in this conversation, your work might even be a way to bring dissimilar communities together. How's that happen? Listen in right after this. Geological Conversations come to you through the generous support of our sponsors and members. You have clinic challenges? Our sponsors have solutions. Blue Poppy has a special on their Great Nature Classics line this month. Mayway focuses this month on stress, anxiety, and sleep issues. Are you licensed in California and want to get the best insurance reimbursements? AccuCare can help. Later in the show, you'll hear about how Jane's suite of clinic management tools makes office work a breeze, and a heartfelt holiday message from everybody at Golden Flower Chinese Herbs. Be sure to visit the sponsors page on the Geological website to take advantage of all the special offers our terrific sponsors have for listeners of the podcast. Running a clinic means always having the formulas that you rely on. And this season, Blue Poppy is making it easier than ever to stay stocked. From now through the end of the year, enjoy 15% off the entire Great Nature Classics line. These trusted, time-honored herbal formulas are practitioner essentials, and now's the perfect moment to replenish your shelves before the New Year rush begins. Whether you're refreshing your dispensary or simply planning ahead, this limited-time savings makes it easy to stock up with confidence. And for patients traveling this holiday season, Blue Poppy's free-to-use dropship service makes it simple to get them the formulas that they need right to their door. And just like your clinic orders, dropship orders over $50 also qualify for free shipping under their standard shipping policy. Start the new year prepared. Save 15% on Great Nature Classics at bluepoppy.com.
Hi folks, I'm Yvonne Lau, president of Mayway Herbs. December is often a stressful month, so we're focusing on anxiety, sleep issues, and cognitive decline, areas where Chinese medicine can offer powerful but gentle solutions. In our newsletter and on our Chinese Medicine Matters podcast, we'll explore classical formulas and time-tested, clinically useful approaches for calming the spirit, supporting restful sleep, and nourishing mental clarity. Since 1969, Mayway Herbs has been a trusted source for high-quality herbal products. Our Plumflower brand line includes pills, tablets, extract granules, and organic herbs. And with educational resources, articles, and videos, we're here to help you provide the very best patient care. Visit us at Mayway.com to learn more. We wish you a peaceful holiday season, and on behalf of everyone here at our family business, I'd like to offer our deep thanks, as always, for your support. Here's to balance, clarity, and well-being with the wisdom of real Chinese medicine.
Are you a California licensed acupuncturist who accepts insurance or wants to? Are you satisfied with your current reimbursements? You could be earning more. With the right support, joining top insurance networks such as Cigna is simple. AccuCare was started 30 years ago by acupuncturists for acupuncturists. AccuCare has already negotiated top reimbursement rates for acupuncturists. With AccuCare, you'll spend more time with patients and less time battling insurance paperwork. Email AccuCare@AccuCare.com and let them help you get in-network with Cigna and other well-paying companies. Get paid what you deserve. Email AccuCare@AccuCare.com and save $100 on your credentialing application fee. Use the code PROSPER. That discount code again, PROSPER. Contact AccuCare@AccuCare.com to get higher reimbursement rates and a credentialing company you can trust. Liz Vitale, welcome to Geological.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Delighted to have you. You're out at the very edge of the continent, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, feels like the edge of the world.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm on the Oregon coast. My family and I live in a tiny village called Neskowin. Population's about 200 people. And then my clinic is 7 miles north on the coast in a town called Pacific City.
That's way out there in the middle of nowhere. What's an acupuncturist doing way out in the middle of nowhere? In fact, I want to know how you got out there. But I know something about you, which is that you started, I think, in New York City?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, how do you get from New York City to a little town that I can't even pronounce the name of in Oregon?
Well, I love New York City. I think it's an amazing place. And when I decided I wanted to study acupuncture, I looked at a few schools around the country, including the one in New York City, Tri-State, I think it's called.
I mean, you got a couple of them there. It is New York City after all.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, that was really appealing. I mean, every school that I looked at was exciting, but when I came to visit Portland, Oregon, and looked at NCNM, I learned about the emphasis on the classics and on learning some of the classical Chinese characters to help us understand the texts, where we were fortunate to have Sabina Wilms as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And all this is to say, because my background and my undergrad was in archaeology and art history, and so I really came in with this reverence for ancient ways, cultures, values, medicine, art, everything. It was a no-brainer then. I have to be at this school where I sense there is this demand for more focus on the language and that culture, getting into that culture more.
Uh-huh. Okay. Archaeology and art history. What do you like going down the A's? Next thing is acupuncture. I mean, how do you get...
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get to graduate to, the B's, bone setting next time around.
I touched on that a little bit.
Whatever took you from what you were doing into acupuncture? I mean, it seems like a bit of a jump.
It was, certainly, yeah. I loved what I got to do in the worlds of art history and archaeology. I got to work at an excavation in Greece, and it was super fun. And I saw that that path that would have been required to keep working in that field was to get a master's and then a PhD and then be a professor. Essentially, that's the way it goes. And I got a sense that academia was not for me. What I loved about it was hands in the dirt, actually uncovering and discovering artifacts from 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. That was it for me, and I didn't want to.
That was the thing.
Yeah, but I saw that I kind of if that's your thing, then I was at the peak, because if you continue down that path, you become a supervisor. Your hands aren't in the dirt. You're writing papers and publishing and stuff.
Yes. So the further you went into it, the further away you would get from the thing that you loved. So now you put your hands on people and dig out things archaeologically in certain ways, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I was fortunate to meet a couple friends. One was a breathwork therapist and one was a Reiki practitioner and herbalist. And I think it was the first time, coming from New York City, it was the first time in my life that I got to witness and then also become part of these conversations with people who lived and existed in the world in a different way. And it felt like it just really resonated with me. And I was like, well, there are these healers, and maybe that means that this is the path for me too, which looking back is kind of silly. I see now, there are so many paths I could have taken, but glad it was this one, thanks to those two friends. So I really took a step back and looked at like all the different paths of healing and medicine that were possible. You know, everything from traditional Western medical school to acupuncture. And I read the intro to The Web That Has No Weaver, and that was it. Yeah. It felt like...
Really? Oh my goodness. That was the first book I read as well. And it just made me so confused.
Well, I didn't read the rest of it, which probably would have really confused me at that time. But the introduction just felt like it was speaking a language that made, in a way, perfect sense to me. Even though the terms were new, it just was like, oh, this just feels like the way that I want to be and see things and am to a degree already, you know.
Universe can be generous. It lays out these little things for us sometimes. And it's like, how about this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you get to go, maybe. Tell me more. Right?
Yeah. I'm so thankful for those moments that led me here.
Yeah. So why didn't you just go back to New York? How'd you end up on the coast?
Well, I actually really wanted to go back to New York City after, so I did 4 years of the school in Portland, and then I did an additional year of residency at the teaching clinic there, and I felt very ready to go back to New York City. But my husband, we had met in New York City, and then he moved out to be in Portland with me while I was in school. And during that time, he learned how to be a winemaker. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he was commuting into the Willamette Valley to make wine while I was in school and a resident.
That's not a bad gig.
I know, yeah, and he's really good at it. So he fell in love with it. He makes excellent wine, and he was like, I can't. The grapes are here. And I was like, all right, well, I'll stay here with you, but not in Portland. Like, let's move to the coast. I had just started surfing and saw a little hint of what was possible out here. And
oh, okay.
So it was, yeah. But,
you know, going out to the coast, I mean, there's not a ton of people. What kind of people do you have out there on the coast?
We have, well, timber industry used to be a big thing here. Now that's smaller, but there's a lot of fishing, recreation, like surfing, and now mountain biking is becoming more popular out here as more trails are built. And some retirees, a lot of like back to the land hippie sort of folks that moved out here decades ago and raised their families and created lives and built institutions that now employ other people and community as well. So there's a real mix.
Wait a minute, the hippies built institutions.
Small, like
that employ people.
Art, like there's a wonderful center for art and ecology. There's a sweet little forest school in our tiny town, and a few restaurants and things for the visitors. A lot of people come out from Portland or Bend for the weekend or for their vacation.
Yeah, but the regular folks who live there, probably more of a rural lot.
Yes, farmers, fishermen and women, dairy and vegetables in terms of farming. There's kind of a variety there.
Yeah, such a different culture from New York and from Portland for that matter. We were talking prior to rolling some tape today about meeting people in different places and like what the idea of diversity means in different places.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that thread.
And like you live in a place where in some ways it's a diverse population from what you would experience in the city.
Yes.
Because you're dealing with like farmers and fishermen and firefighters and forest workers. And those are really different kinds of folk from who you're probably used to associating with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, the diversity here it's beautiful. Of course, New York City, coming from there, was a completely different kind of diversity. And this is a new experience of what diversity means, and I'm still learning about it as we go. But yeah, there's quite a range of the way people approach their values and politics from very liberal to very, very conservative. And our county is split really 50-50 when it comes to voting and those matters.
I'm curious to know how you work with that in the clinic. As we're recording this conversation, having this discussion, there's so much vitriol in our world right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you're not on my side, then the hell with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it might even be my duty to try to shut you down. I was recently down at the Pacific Symposium where our friend Sabina Wilms was teaching, and she was doing her thing on in his virtues for doctors. And one of the things is, well, you treat everybody and anybody, right? You treat the trans activists and you treat the firefighters. You shouldn't have, there should be no difference in how you feel about people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting in Sabina's class there at Pacific Symposium, there were people saying, well, given who I am and how I am, there are certain people, no, they don't belong in my clinic.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, okay, that's interesting. That's a different point of view. And like you, I mean, I don't live in a rural place, but I get to meet people from all kinds of persuasions.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be really challenging when you're sitting with a person and you're trying to help them, and they're really different from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be challenging, but I think it's a great challenge. Personally, that's my perspective.
Yeah. How's the challenge for you? What does it bring up for you? How do you work with that? You know, so many people get a bit dysregulated emotionally. Just being in the room with someone's wearing a certain t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just want to rip that t-shirt off of them. How do you manage all this?
Well, from my perspective, it's not an option. I treat everybody, and there are people in my community, and I see that first, I guess. And yeah, just the humanness comes first always. And I think that's true the other way around as well, like the way they see me. When it comes to like the firefighters, for example, I'm pretty certain they wouldn't have started coming to see me if they didn't know me as a person first. I have since quit since I had my daughter and just have an overflowing plate, but I used to volunteer as a firefighter and EMT with our local fire department. And so, you know, got to know those people, and over time, slowly getting to know each other, chit chat before and after trainings and whatnot. And they're like, oh, you're an acupuncturist? Like, no follow-up questions, and eventually, like, one of them came to see me and I helped his pain, and he probably told some of the others, and a bunch of them come now. And this is a gross generalization, but if we have to generalize sometimes to have kind of conversation like this. And as a whole, their values and beliefs are quite different than mine, but they came to me because they first knew me as a person, and I think that softened their whatever doubts and hesitations they had to try a kind of medicine that is completely foreign to them. And that is amazing. I think it's so amazing that they were able to, that we had the opportunity in the small community to see each other as people first and lead to, I am like a doorway for those people into exploring, into seeing their health and their body and hopefully their whole life experience as something that has potential to be something other than what they thought.
Yeah, it's such wonderful work that way, and that we get to do that work. You just said something that I think maybe it's part of the secret sauce. I don't know. You mentioned you have a small community, right? It's like all y'all have to kind of figure out how to get along. One of the problems with living in a more major metropolitan area is that people you don't like, screw those guys.
Yeah, you can easily avoid people that aren't like-minded.
Yeah, you can easily avoid. You can like put them in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big city. I don't have to deal with these people. I don't have to talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in New York, it's called Staten Island.
Wait, say that again?
In New York City, it's called Staten Island.
Yeah, but here, people have to find a way to have some kind of respect. And it sounds like one of the things that happened for you is in getting to know these people, because you're helping out. They find out who you are and what you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not so strange. It's not like, oh, that weird acupuncture thing. No, it's Liz. And I know Liz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that comes first. And then openness to this foreign medicine that I don't know if I'd even really heard of before, to be quite honest.
They've probably heard of it. I mean, I think most people at this point have heard of acupuncture. They may not know what to think of it. They may not know how to parse it in any way, shape, or form, but I think they've heard of it.
Yeah, you're probably right. They've heard of it, but we didn't know for sure anything about how it works or what it looks like and what it can do.
Well, very few people know how it works.
Well, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh.
I mean, it's funny to me. My patients come in, they go, well, I've never had acupuncture. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm always thinking to myself, like, well, why should you? Why should you know how it works? I mean, you don't even know how Western medicine works. Why would you care how Chinese medicine works?
Yeah, it is interesting. I hear that comment too. Yeah.
But what I'd like to dig into a little bit is like how you work with the judgment that you sometimes find yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know of any of us that are immune to sometimes having patients come in
mm-hmm.
and maybe go off on a rant of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I had one the other day who was going off on white boomer men. And I'm just sitting there in front of her, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
thinking, this is really interesting. Is she talking to me?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well,
or is she talking about something else? So how do you work with that?
I take deep breaths in the moment. That helps me. Really basic thing, but I'm thankful that I usually think to do that in the moment. It helps a lot. And just come back to they're a person. And, my bias is I also have in the back of my mind somewhere, well, if I can help them feel better, then maybe the vitriol will lessen.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again. If you can help them to feel better?
If I can help them feel better using Chinese medicine, using the tools that I have to work with whatever it is that they are asking me for help with, if I can lessen their suffering, then maybe the vitriol will lessen as well.
That it somehow soaks into other parts of their life. Other things change.
Yeah, how could it not?
Yeah, I mean, acupuncture changes people so profoundly. Yeah, if you're free of a little suffering, maybe you're free of a little hatred as well.
Yeah, and these words, vitriol and hate, are maybe kind of extreme a lot of the time. Maybe sometimes they're accurate, but I'm talking about also the less extreme instances as well.
This episode is brought to you by Jane, a practice management software and EMR I use to keep things running smoothly behind the scenes. When I first started looking for a practice management tool, I wanted something that felt like a teammate, not just more tech to figure out. That's why I switched to Jane. One of the things I love most about Jane? Their support team. You get unlimited help from real humans, even on Saturdays, by phone, email, or chat, all at no extra cost. It's easy to learn about Jane in your own time, too. Jane's guide is packed with helpful tips and updates, and it's always growing. And maybe best of all, Jane has a wonderful community of practitioners, so even if you're running a solo practice, you don't have to feel like you're doing it alone. I appreciate how Jane's tech support responds to my email inquiries, and just the right amount of detail they provide in helping me to solve a problem. If you're curious about what Jane can do for your practice, head to jane.app/demo. And if you're ready to get started, use the code CHEOLOGICAL for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. I had a friend I was talking with recently, I'd like to get your take on this. I was talking with a friend recently, and she's really big on educating her patients.
Mm-hmm.
She's like really keen on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, they should be doing this and they shouldn't be doing that, and because Chinese medicine tells us, blah, 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 and she thinks it's her duty to tell them what they should be doing. And she asked me what I do to educate my patients. And I told her that I don't educate my patients because I don't like being educated. And which kind of took her back, and I, since we're on the subject of judgment here, it just seems to me, even though we've got some really great ideas in our medicine, like trying to force it on someone else, I don't know if it's that effective, or maybe I'm just terrible at actually communicating with people in a way that helps them to, consider new ideas. With your fisher folk and farmers and, people like this, how do you help them understand their health and maybe living better through the principles of what we have to offer?
I don't do very much educating either, which is something that I feel some guilt around.
Guilt around?
Yeah, like I wonder if it would be better if I shared more of what might be going through my mind as I'm trying to work with a person. But I get the sense that a lot of what I might say just wouldn't really land well and would feel like it would create more distance between the patient and I instead of connection. It might lead them to have thoughts like, well, she just doesn't get it. Like what she has to offer just doesn't apply to my life. It doesn't make sense given that, for example, I'm like immersed in the ocean or the river fishing or the ocean surfing, when Chinese medicine might say, no, stay warm.
Yeah, well look at you.
You know what I mean? Uh-huh. All the time, yeah.
You surf now, right? It's friggin' cold on the Oregon coast.
Yeah, always. Yeah, and I surf on my period too.
Oh my God, you're in trouble now.
I know, but no regrets. It's the best. It's such a healing, wonderful, meditative, joyful, and connective thing for me. There's no way I'm not gonna paddle out if the waves look fun just because I happen to be bleeding.
I love it.
And so I take that and apply it to the people I see in the clinic.
Well, swimming in cold water will make you tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm one of these people that doesn't like to be cold. So I probably wouldn't surf in conditions that weren't warm just because I really dislike the cold. But it's not because I have this Chinese medicine idea about cold. I mean, I do and I use it, but sometimes the body is just so much more resilient.
Yes.
Than we give it credit for. And I think there's something else. Maybe this is just because I like doing what I like doing and damn the torpedoes. But like if you're not enjoying your life, like who cares if you're going to live a little extra few years?
Absolutely. Yes. Uh-huh.
Right? Like you might, by the time you get into your late 60s, be like, man, my joints are really stiff.
Mm-hmm.
This is rough. But I wouldn't trade my stiff joints for all those days on the waves.
Absolutely not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's part of why we live here is to enjoy our life day to day and not wait until later. And our community is full of people with that same mindset. It's not easy living here. Housing is difficult. Jobs are difficult if you don't sort of create your own thing.
Mm-hmm. People are tougher where you live. Is that an accurate thing to say? People are just tougher.
You have to be. Mm-hmm.
They're not like those weenie city folk. Those sensitive city folk. But to that point, the people that you see, they're used to the cold, they're used to the elements, they're used to hard work. I mean, do you treat them differently than you would treat people in the city? Do you see them as having different kinds of problems, or are your methods different out in a more rural area than they would be in Portland?
Yeah, that's a good question. My whole career has been here since residency, but this doesn't exactly answer your question, but it's related. I think one thing I noticed out here is I think I get to see how effective our medicine is in a much more clear way than when I was an intern and resident in Portland. And the reason is I'm often a patient's only provider of healthcare on a regular basis anyway. I found in Portland I was one of a large team of all sorts of providers, giving treatments, giving herbs, supplements, vitamins, and I found it hard to tell a lot of the time if any progress that was made was what I was doing, the herbs or the acupuncture, or was it any of the myriad other things. So I'm thankful that here it's amazing what I get to see how people get better, and it's like a study with less variables, many less variables,
Right. Yeah. It's a cleaner slate in a way. It's not muddied up with other influences, right? They don't see the chiropractor and the Reiki practitioner and the trainer and the, whatever, and their therapist or their TikTok gynecologist or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah. And I'm so grateful because I think I'm only just a little less than 10 years into practicing on my own. And I think if I were still in the city, in Portland anyway, I don't know if I would have this level of trust and confidence in the medicine and in myself that I have thanks to seeing what it does for people here.
So for you, it's been a way to really see what it does firsthand.
Yeah, firsthand. Mm-hmm.
Like beyond the books, beyond all that other stuff. There's something else, and one of my teachers talks about this. Sometimes when someone comes in, he will actually not do much treatment on them because the problem isn't that they're not getting enough treatment. The problem is that they're over-treated. They've got too many cooks working on the soup, and it actually makes it difficult to treat.
Sure, yeah.
Because people are just, they're actually not better. They're more dysregulated and a little more fragile because of all the different influences. And so I can really see your point. If you're the only person who's got input, you're going to get, number one, you're going to get clear feedback, which means you learn faster. And secondly, you're not dealing with overtreatment.
Yeah. And the other thing that's part of that is I'm also not dealing with folks coming with as much like attachment to stories about like, oh, I have pericardium immune deficiency and so X, Y, and Z, and it's really hard. And,
Wait a minute. You would have patients come in and say I have pericardium immune deficiency?
Maybe not in those exact words, but sometimes in Portland. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because they've already seen an acupuncturist or 6.
Oh, at least one. Yeah. More likely 6. And, just like how we talk about how Western diagnoses can become too like sticky to a person's being and their story. I think the same thing can happen with our diagnoses. And yeah, anyways.
No, I think you're 100% right on that.
Treating folks who don't come. Mm-hmm.
When I practiced in Seattle, I did have a similar thing. People would come in and tell me their diagnosis. Nobody does that in St. Louis, Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They just come in and tell me what's going on with them. I mean, they got a story for sure, because everybody does.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not a Chinese medicine story.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm careful about when patients ask me what's going on, what do I have, or like, what are you treating? I'm careful about my words because I don't want to create a story that they attach to. That for me is just a hypothesis, and after a few treatments, we'll see if that was accurate or not. But,
I love that. It's not a diagnosis, it's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
I love that. So what do you tell them? How do you work with that? I've got the same thing. I think people listening, probably the same thing. People ask us, well, doc, what's going on? Tell me about me. So what do you tell them? How do you navigate that?
I might say something like, well, today your pulse feels like this, and that makes me curious about X, Y, or Z, or I see this on your tongue, and I'm curious about that, and here's how it lines up with something you shared during the intake, but we'll see how you feel after today. So, like, let me know how you feel, especially when you wake up tomorrow and the next few days, and then, whether it works or not, whether you feel better or not, that'll really help me to know, so that we know whether we're on the right course here or not, and we can adjust if needed.
So you probably don't tell them what they can expect to feel. I know a lot of times my patients are like, well, what should I feel in the next few days?
Well, I do say that most of the time people feel some relief afterwards. If not with the specific symptom that you came in wanting help with, then you might just feel like an overall sigh of relief, like a greater sense of overall well-being. But a lot of time people do feel symptom relief pretty quickly. So I don't want to set them up for it to just be a big question mark. I do share the positive feedback that I've gotten as a whole, and say you can expect this, but it might also take more than a few treatments, because I've seen there is one patient in particular who working with him was amazing, because he came in severe 10 out of 10 neck pain, didn't budge for 11 treatments, and I was starting to wonder.
Oh, wow.
He stuck with it.
He stuck with it for 11 treatments?
I don't know why, but...
Okay, I got another question.
Yeah.
I got another question. This is a big question. How did you stick with it for 11 treatments? How did you stick with, man, I'm not getting anywhere for 11 treatments? How did you do that? I would have kicked him out the door after 6.
It was challenging. Yeah, it was challenging. I questioned whether it was even ethical to let him reschedule, but I did say to him at one point, I'm not sure. Usually people feel some improvement by now. And he's like, well, I'm coming back. So I gave him an out, and he was a pretty remarkable person. I saw he maintained this positive mindset that it didn't budge even after 11 treatments of not feeling any improvement. He seemed to have decided this is going to work eventually. And I'm not going to tell him that's not true. That's not my place. The 12th time he came back and was like, all right, doc, it's 2 out of 10. This is great.
Wow. Were there other things with him that were shifting on the periphery, or is it just you were hammering away at this thing until it finally crumbled?
With him, it was hard to tell. He was not forthcoming with how's sleep, how's digestion, all the other things that usually we talk about. It was always just good, all the way down, just good. Don't need any help with anything else. It's just the neck pain. Mm-hmm.
Yep, fix my neck. By the way, in case you forgot, my neck.
Yeah. But then he stopped coming, and maybe 6 months later, I got a note from his wife that he had passed away, and he had pulmonary fibrosis, which I was also sort of...
That probably had something to do with his neck pain, huh?
The neck. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
But his wife was like, thanks to the acupuncture, he didn't have that intense pain at the end of his life, and he loved coming. So, I don't know, people are mysterious.
Yeah, people...
And he's one of those people that I would never have expected to walk into the door of a Chinese medicine clinic. He was a timber worker and sort of conservative religious, but it was amazing. I love that I got to work with him, and again, got to see what our medicine can do.
So you and him were really different kinds of critters.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually dealing with a life-threatening situation, actually on his way out, kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that puts people in a different, I was going to say frame of mind, but beyond frame of mind, they're just in a different world.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you're kind of transitioning, even if it's a slow transition, that sometimes, I was talking to somebody just recently about, like, sometimes we're treating people
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we're accompanying them.
It's interesting you bring this up because my dad passed away of glioblastoma a year ago, brain cancer, and he was living in both worlds there was 14 months between his diagnosis and death, and he knew from day one that was it, and I also knew from day one that was it. So the two of us were felt like we were straddling the two worlds together for 14 months, which is a long time to be straddling both worlds.
And yet you knew you were straddling worlds. I think it makes a difference when you know that you're straddling worlds.
Yeah.
This isn't treatment. This is accompaniment. This is something different.
Yeah. I feel fortunate that in the case of my dad, he was very much at peace with it.
That helps. Some people fight it to the end, like, I'm gonna fight this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known other people that were like, oh, okay, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to fight.
Yep. It's probably a big difference between those two ways of approaching it.
Kind of back to the judgment thing a bit. We have such a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Do anything to stave off death, right? So much medicine is heroic.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect there is a place for that. Someone's in the middle of a heart attack and they're actually savable.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Bring on the heroics.
Yeah.
Knowing when to do what.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he was different.
Sounds like that guy stuck with you. There's something about that.
That patient?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you learn from him?
Perseverance. Peace with discomfort.
Ooh, peace with discomfort.
Yeah, not being quick to judge. He showed he didn't judge it as not working, even though it took a long time for it to work for him.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Because I know for myself as a practitioner, I'm always judging if it's working.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and this is just kind of a new thought in my mind, I'm judging if it's working, if what I'm doing is really trying to change something that's changeable. Some things aren't changeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like my Parkinson's patients aren't going to not have Parkinson's.
And so you're saying you're judging whether something is or isn't changeable?
I'm judging whether or not I'm being helpful. And how it is that I might be being helpful. Sometimes I think I miss how Chinese medicine is helpful for people. I'm looking for results. And I'm looking for results that are tangible.
Yeah. I think we don't always get to know.
And you don't always get to know. And I mean, that's a weird space because I don't want to be in the place of, well, I'm treating their spirit and their spirit's better, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Is there spirit? Like, whenever it comes to issues of the spirit, I get really, really nervous.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. Yeah, I do too.
You do?
Yeah, because how can I know what's best for another person, or not even what's best, but what's helpful for their spirit, and what's my own notion about what would be helpful for that person?
Oh, man. Yeah, well, you just put your finger on a conundrum that I feel like I have all the time, and especially because in our trade, we're often talking about the spirit. It's all about the spirit. It's all about the Shen. And if you treat the Shen, then everything will be fine. And for one, I don't think I buy that.
Mm-hmm.
And for two, kind of like you're like, well, who am I to say? And how would I know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's this lovely idea, right, that we treat the spirit. But I don't know, Liz. I always get a little squirrely around any issues of spirit because that world just seems fraught with uncertainty and different. Back to what we're talking about, you live in a place where you have some, probably some very fundamentalist religious people. Their idea of spirit might be really different
mm-hmm.
than my idea or your idea or anyone who's listening to this idea, and how to be able to respect what's true for another person without giving up our own ground of what seems reasonable to us. I find that really difficult. I feel like I fail at it all the time.
Yeah, it is really difficult. Something I come back to is, at least at a certain level with Chinese medicine, the spirit is the health of the body, right? The two layers are part of the same thing, right?
Which two layers are we talking about?
Spirit and physical body.
Okay.
So if there are two layers of the same thing, then I try to ground using that reasoning. Then can't we ground into checking in with the physical body, helping the physical body, and that will affect the spirit, but we don't have to directly try to shift something at the spirit level. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. I don't think I think of it so much as levels. I think of it as this like really incredible entanglement, like you have roots of different trees entangled together under the surface of the earth, right? Like mind and body and spirit. I don't see them as layers. I see them as entanglements.
The word layers or levels, whichever I said, I don't like that either. It's just hard to pick words when it comes to this. But
yes,
it's one thing, right?
But I've also heard a lot of people in our profession, they're like, well, you have to aim at treating the spirit. And, again, maybe it's me and at a young age having a distaste for any kind of organized religion.
Yeah.
I always figured well, that's none of my damn business. Like what a person's spiritual life is, that's their business. It's not my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I feel similarly.
Funny work we do, huh?
Yeah, it's wild.
What's been wild about it for you lately? I mean, one of the things I love about practicing acupuncture is it's constantly showing me and teaching me things that like I hadn't thought about or considered. So what's been wild for you lately that your practice has shown to you?
That's a fun one. Well, I don't see a couple directions I could go from here, but in January of this year, I started organizing a once a month community clinic specifically for the local queer community and local Latina community. And it's just word of mouth to keep everyone as safe as we possibly can. And I set up our lobby area for community style acupuncture. And then the other folks that work at my clinic sort of each take a treatment room. So we also are able to offer nutrition counseling and massage, occasionally another offering as well. And what's wild is it's a powerful thing that happens once a month. The folks that come in are sometimes people that are otherwise in hiding this year, and we always have one or two friends who help translate or interpret Spanish to English. And given the nature of like community style acupuncture, I don't usually get to hear like the deepest, most difficult things that a person has going on in their mental, emotional life. I'm like, okay, let's help with stress, sleep, back pain.
The big things.
Yeah. But then I do hear one of my good friends here is Latina, and occasionally she'll reach out to me with like a thank you for helping my community. Like, I don't know if you have any idea how impactful it is what you guys are offering once a month. And I'm not trying to like, now I feel conceited saying something like that to you, but I don't take that personally, that compliment. That's like what we're doing as a group and what the medicine is doing, and I happen to know how to use my hands to do that. And that's pretty wild to see the good that can be done, I guess.
As the year 2025 comes to a close, Golden Flower Chinese Herbs wishes you, your family, and your patients a warm holiday season full of joy and restful recharging. They have high hopes for 2026 being better. Remember that this season calls for slowing down as our chi retreats to the interior. We will be wise to respect that natural cycle. Golden Flower is here for you in this holiday season with gratitude from everybody at Golden Flower Chinese Herbs. I think it's helpful to hear how our work impacts other people. And sometimes we hear it from the patients that we're seeing, but sometimes we hear it in other places, right? Like the person you know who says, oh, by the way, the influence you have on my community, thank you. There was a period of time I did a free cancer clinic, and a lot of your patients end up dying when you do that. But more than once, I get a phone call from a family member, usually telling me that, the patient had passed away. And then they would share something of how, in the midst of all the troubles with having cancer, that acupuncture would give them like a little oasis, sometimes for a few hours, even just a few hours. But it was notable how it made a difference in that person's life and how it made a difference in that family member's life to see less suffering for the person that they loved.
That's huge.
It's hearing it secondhand.
It's almost more powerful.
Yes, I find it to be more powerful. It's not almost more powerful. I think it is more powerful.
Yeah.
And what you were saying, to be able to take it in and not feel conceited or, puff yourself up, to somehow be able to just take it in and go, oh, that's nice. I mean, the flip side of that is when people don't get better, and instead of beating ourselves up, I mean, we might want to go study a little more, but instead of, oh my God, I'm no good, it's just like, that wasn't so helpful.
Yeah, probably got the diagnosis wrong, or who knows. But yeah, I think really not taking compliments personally, because it's the medicine. I'm still like relatively brand new, so I gotta think it's the.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You've got 10 years in the boat.
A little less, yeah.
Okay, how's that relative?
That's nothing.
No, wait a minute. Seriously, how's that nothing?
Okay, it's something, but it's not that long.
It is something.
Yeah, but it's not that long.
We've got a funny thing in our profession. I hope this doesn't make you uncomfortable, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I hear this more from like people that are just graduating or they're just in their first few years. And they say, well, I'm just a baby practitioner. I think it's bullshit. I mean, yes, you're starting out, and fair enough. You don't know as much as you will 10 years down the road. But this thing about I'm just a baby practitioner, I think it's disingenuous. And I think it's disingenuous because you've had whatever life you had before you came to this. You got yourself through acupuncture school, and you've taken on a big, juicy life task.
That's true.
Somehow saying I'm just in kindergarten, I think it's being disrespectful of whatever fortitude has gotten you to where you are today. It's like, yeah, I got a lot to learn. But it's almost like, well, don't hurt me, I'm weak. It's like, I'm just a baby, so like, give me a pass. Like, there is no pass. There is no pass.
Yeah, no, I don't no, it shouldn't be used as an out.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you, but I'm just this is just like something I hear from other practitioners, a lot of younger people. It's like, no, you don't get a pass. And yes, it's hard in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe I'm just being a grumpy old guy here. But and I think it comes down to also just like how we think about ourselves and what we do. Like how much ego do we have in it versus like how much heart we have in it. So you've been at it 10 years.
Yes, 10 whole years. How's that?
You've been at it 10 whole years. Have you?
No, a little bit less. 9.5. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 9.5. You've been at it a decade. What would you have to say? You're in a good spot to say something about this. Because, if you've been at it for 30 years, then you're totally out of touch with people that are new. But you're 10 years in, so you're somewhat in touch with people that are new. What advice would you have for them in terms of like how you grow into a practitioner?
Well, let's see. My growing up as a practitioner has all been here in this little coastal community. And so I don't know how much applies. But what I have found helpful is to just be a person in community first. and live where and how you want to live. And I think that's it. I have found that to be it.
Go surfing more? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. Joy, living joyfully, and hopefully the practice fits in easily with that.
So what I think you're saying is it's not so much what we do or what we know, but how we are.
Yeah, that sounds better. It sums it up. Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. Living here it's required a kind of different paradigm for life as a practitioner. Like, I see people I treat everywhere I go. Or if I don't see them, I see their family members.
Yeah, that whole patient practitioner anonymity, HIPAA compliant, that you can roll with in one way in a big city. It doesn't work in a small community where they come up to you at the store and say, "Hey, doc."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had to let go, and I had to let go of that sort of rigid approach and adapt to this community in this sense. And I am still always HIPAA compliant and respectful, of course.
Of course, yeah.
But it's really softened me. Like, as soon as I moved out here, I saw, okay, either like I'm going to have to be like on 100% of the time everywhere I go, because I see patients everywhere, or I'm going to have to adapt and soften and like let myself be a human, and very, very imperfect human. And I've chosen the latter.
I suspect that makes you more lovable.
I hope so. Yeah.
And more trustworthy. I'm thinking about what you were saying earlier with having, I remember it was firefighters or fishermen or whoever, that they knew you first. They knew you as a person in the community before they knew you as a practitioner.
Yeah, and they will see what groceries are in my cart, where I am going to eat, how I interact with my daughter when I pick her up or drop her off at school, everything.
Yes. That's wonderful.
How I serve.
That's really wonderful.
It is.
That you get to be you.
Yeah.
You get to be whatever quirky character you are. Look, it's freezing cold. She's got her period, for God's sake. She's surfing. Of course, people in your neighborhood probably wouldn't think that's an issue.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very shortly after moving out here, someone came to see me for a couple of treatments. He was a surfer, and I put him on an herbal formula. And the town where my clinic is, the population's about 1,500. There's one bar that people go to that's like the local pub, and they sell fish. They make fish and chips that are they use local fish that the local fishermen catch. And anyway, so my husband and I would go for fish and chips occasionally, and we walked in, and the surfer is at the bar with a bunch of friends, and he sees me come in, and he's like, "Liz, the herbs, they're working. It's so fun." Just like exclaims, like, so like the whole bar can hear him. And I was like, this is wonderful.
This is the worst HIPAA violation of my life. I want to crawl into a corner.
Well, no, it's not, because he chose to share that. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I get it. But still, isn't it that sense of like uh-oh, kind of busted?
I know. I thought it was so joyful and wonderful, because now all these salty fishermen and people, everyone in the bar who heard him was like, oh, he's taking herbs? He's doing what? Like, what's going on here? Like, something new, like something outside of what they thought
sure
was possible here,
Yeah, of course. Oh, that's fabulous.
And if he's doing it, then like that's something to chew on.
The best advertising is gossip. Ideally, very public gossip. Oh, man, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess you're going to be there for a while. You have any plans to head back to New York or any other big urban environments?
No. No, we love visiting family and friends in New York, but we love it here. We built our home here, literally and figuratively. I'm so grateful. We were just really taken in by this community as a couple, and now our daughter as well. I mean, the person who poured the foundation for our house, that was a trade. Our childcare before my daughter started school was a trade.
You actually have community. This is not just...
We really do.
This is not just an idea of, oh, we work in community, we value community. You actually live with all kinds of different people, very different from yourself, maybe different from each other, and you all make it work.
Yeah, no, our hearts are very at home here. We're very cared for here, and we care for others. Like it's a circle. It's amazing. I didn't know it was possible, but really this might sound silly, but it's really thanks to surfing, because I started towards the end of my year of residency in Portland. My dear friend Claire, who's also an acupuncturist, took me out surfing one day, and it was a big deal. It changed my life because I fell in love with it instantly. And
could you actually get up on a surfboard the first time?
I did.
You did?
I had the benefit of a lot of Tai Chi and Kung Fu practice before, and before that, ballet for a long time. So those two things probably helped me with standing up. My friend Claire taking me surfing. Yeah, she's an acupuncturist too. And, we're talking about standing up on the surfboard.
Yes. How you managed to stand up the first time.
Yeah. Well, I had practiced Tai Chi and before that, many years ago, danced ballet. So I think those two things help. But yeah, I fell in love first time, started coming out regularly, and driving out from Portland was like a 2-hour drive.
Dedication.
Did that a lot. Yeah, I've always been in love with the ocean. My family, we'd go in the summers or on weekends to the nearby beaches in New York. So anyway, it's because of surfing, I got to know, that was my way into getting to know this local community. And I saw like, there are people living here who are like around my age and have created lives for themselves out here. And that sort of planted the seed for then suggesting to my husband that we move to the coast.
Funny how life works out that way.
Yeah.
And for folks that don't know about the Oregon coast,
mm-hmm.
It's one of the most amazing landscapes in the world.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is just the wildest energy.
Yeah, I'm glad sounds like you've been here.
It is the wildest energy, and at the same time, it's this like soft Chinese painting.
Oh, yes. I tell people that all the time. Yes, the soft Chinese painting. The layers of like mist and pine trees is just so even.
Yes. Oh, it's phenomenal. It's a soft Chinese painting, and at the same time, it's wild. There is a wildness to the place that is extraordinary. So it's got a very unique energy to it.
Yeah, and that's in the people too. Extraordinary, wild people. It's amazing. But yeah, the natural beauty is just something else. I'm so glad you have been here, so can speak to that yourself, because it's hard to describe.
I think we just did okay.
Well, that's true.
Ish.
But I mean the feeling that it gives is just.
Yeah, no, really, to understand the Oregon coast in some way, you have to just go for a number of days and unplug and spend time in like outside in that environment.
Yeah, it's so.
Dang, surfing.
It's healing. Yeah. Yeah, you sail, right?
I sail.
Mm-hmm. On the ocean ever? Or what kind of water?
I've sailed on the ocean a little bit, but it's mostly like small racing boats.
Mm.
So they're like fast and tippy little boats.
Okay.
So mostly on lakes.
Uh-huh.
But more inland, not inland, but like, I mean, I've been on the ocean, but not like long ocean crossings or anything.
Okay.
You know, like near the shore.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you feel in the ocean?
Oh God, the ocean. Yeah, no, the ocean has got its own thing. It's just, I mean, lakes are okay. But the ocean is, I'm trying to figure out how I can get out of here in like February and go somewhere warm and be on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Salt water.
Salt water. Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Salt water.
Uh-huh.
It's got to be. Yeah. Yeah, because there just is an energy to it that is restorative because it's so vast you can't think it. You can only like let it wash into you.
Yeah, and it's always changing.
Yeah.
I love that about it too. You know, what the different tides do, and it always like smells different day to day, I noticed, you know.
Yeah. It's a good place for an acupuncturist because, you know, it helps you to open up your senses in a way that I think is helpful in clinic, right? We have to open our sensorium and open our heart and you know, be available, you know, to whoever it is that we're sitting with in ways that we don't know how we have to be available. We just have to be available like that.
Yeah.
And hopefully grounded enough that when they start ranting about the people they hate and you're one of them, you know, you can not let it throw you off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, the ocean definitely helps with that.
I think it does.
The vastness of it and like feeling that like at my back all the time, maybe not like literally, but it's right there. I'm never more than a couple miles away from it, and I feel it. Yeah, it helps absorb.
Yep. And I suspect because the people in the community where you live all have that shared experience of the power of the ocean, it kind of ties you together in a way.
It does, yeah. And there are some people here that actually aren't ocean people. They're more river or forest, and sometimes even intentionally stay away from the ocean because it's so powerful and lives are lost sometimes. So that creates some real grief and distance for some people.
Yeah, of course.
But even for those people that choose like forest or river instead, there's a recognition of how powerful it is, of course.
Sounds like a wonderful place. Well, you've done pretty good in your 10 years.
It feels good. It's been joyful and rewarding, and I always come back to community. Anyone who knows me knows I'm like always gushing about our wonderful community. It's we actually have a village in the sense that people talk about, and I hear people like pine for like, oh, like the village that used to exist for everybody. You know, we actually have that here. And
you actually have that. That creates a kind of connection. That's wonderful. Well, hopefully the rest of us, wherever we are, can create some of that ourselves, whatever conditions we have.
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, I know I got hints of it in New York City too, really, like in the certain neighborhoods.
Yeah, of course.
It totally exists. You know, you don't have to be in a rural place, of course. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah, part of the attention we bring. And maybe making sure you bring some joy to the enterprise, huh? Sounds like good advice. All right. Well, Liz, thank you so much for sharing a little time today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun talking, seeing where things take us.
All right. Well, I'll stop by next time I'm on the coast.
Please do. Yeah, we'll get Sabina down here too then.
When Liz and I first connected over email, we were noodling on how our own feelings of judgment comes up when working with people with whom we have very different points of view on life. She was telling me about how she came from Brooklyn, learned medicine in Portland, and then found herself on the Oregon coast, living amongst farmers, fishermen, and firefighters. It was a completely different kind of diversity than she experienced in Portland. I thought in this conversation we would explore more about how we deal with differences in clinic, but a podcast conversation has its own way of unfolding, and I was surprised to find that we talked less about that and instead focused on the importance of being connected to your wider community, whoever they happen to be. I suspect it's easier to live a siloed life when in a larger urban environment. But in a small or rural community, you're more likely to engage with folks who have different values. But the smaller community means you need to have more room for the differences as well. I loved her story about walking into the bar and getting a big shout out for someone that she'd seen in her practice. There's a connection beyond ideology when you live in a small town. You're all there together. Proximity plays a role and just might be part of what helps glue people together who have different values. We can have our communities of belonging and affiliation, but when you share the landscape of low clouds, tides, and coastal terrain, you end up belonging in a way like the salt in your blood does to the salt in the ocean.